and we want every skill we can.
Is the reparation process, which would see them come back to the final, vitally important for the future strength, do you think? Is it something the club needs to do?
I mean, we're pleased with our success, but we can't stop there. We have to continue to grow and to continue to grow and to be as strong as West Coast is financially. We need every corner of the club to grow, and we can't have people who aren't comfortable in our club. So,
can that be a reality, do you think? Can a Victorian club ever look at the numbers posted by these interstate giants who have got one or two positions to fill in their particular states and ever think that they can realistically compete financially against those institutions?
Well, it'll have to be a different competition, but we are already setting our targets next year at 35,000, and I really think we can do it, because every day we meet more people who say, I support Hawthorn, but I haven't yet signed up. So our membership committee met last night, and they're starting to plan for next year. We haven't finished on this year. But the second thing is we have to have a strategy which is different. It's no good having a strategy like West Coast or a strategy like Collingwood. We have developed our own strategy, and with that I am quite clear and quite confident that we will be in the top 4 financially strong clubs in 1998.
People would not have thought that this time last year. There's plenty more to talk about. We'll be back after this break with more Ian Dicker on One on One.
Dunstall, more importantly, goes for the siren.
Thanks for coming back. We're talking to Ian Dicker and Jason Dunstall. I mean, the knee comeback and the 100th goal that he kicked that we just saw there against Melbourne in round 22 last year, and what that meant for the club, and Ken Judge's reaction said 1,000 words, I would have thought. I mean, was that a fantastic night for you?
It was a fabulous night, and I congratulate Ken and Jason, because together they worked on the program carefully for Jason to come back at the right time. And for him, the little key was Ken's agreement that he could play in the reserves in the last pre-season match, and just give it no pressure on him. That helped. But then you come into the season, and Jason out on the field is a huge motivation to the rest of the team. To see him fight, see his skill, and I think he's a great player, underrated today still.
Yeah, well, he's certainly an out-and-out champion. I guess history sometimes is the best judge of the place that those players sort of assume in the game. What's the club doing to maintain Ken Judge long-term? Because he is a coach that's going to come under increasing pressure. His services, and I know that he's very keen to share the limelight at the moment with other members of the match committee, and he's surrounded himself with some high-quality people, but he in particular is going to be quite a commodity on the coaching market. What's the club doing to...
Yeah, well, we've had numbers of talks with Ken, and we're looking together at a medium to long-term plan with Ken for the club. We both are looking in it as a long-term plan. This is the first of 1,000 steps. Ken and the club together.
Because his role, I suspect, was pretty critical in not only making the finals last year, and not only starting 1997 well, but just generating the sort of emotion that it takes for supporters to actually believe that it is worth becoming a member. He was so honest during the whole run through the second half of last year, and I think he impressed a lot of people, not only with his coaching ability, but with his honesty and forthrightness.
Yes, it was hard to interpret, hard to understand what was Ken and what was the team, but the team was so good in that time. The supporters didn't know why or how, but I think this year has shown that a very significant part of it is Ken. His leadership one-on-one to the players, and it's interesting to see that we're on the top in the reserves too, and that's a group of people that in the first game there was 4 or 5 people almost hadn't met each other, had a struggle, but they're going onwards, and that's Ken. I mean, they see their coach and their leader and their guide as Ken, so he's significant.
What impresses you about him?
Planning, honesty, hard work. I mean, he does a huge amount of work, one-on-one working with the players.
Would you like to have Chris Langford back as a president? I know that you told me pre-season, I think, that you'd had a few conversations with Chris. I mean, is he still part of the Hawthorn plan for 1997, and is it something that the administration as well as the match committee are working hard to?
I had lunch with Chris last week. We talked about it. He's within a week or two of starting his training, and we are looking forward to him getting into serious training, and if he's with us in the second half of the season, we'll be thrilled. And as I said to him, I look at Carey, he's injured, we recognise he can't play, and I look at Chris the same way. He comes back when he's ready and fit, be a great asset to the club.
I mean, there's a few things said about what Chris Langford did for the club. That moment there where he took the jumper off and waved it to the crowd was incredibly symbolic, and yet we also heard stories about, I don't know whether it's speaking out of school or not, but there were financial contributions that he made to the Operation Payback
yes, he certainly backed his feelings with every way he could. A number of players did. And that was important, and that night at the MCG was a night never to be seen again either. 69,000 people to see that game by a point to get into the finals. Every little piece helped in this re-strengthening, the rebuilding of the club. In all the time that you spent in the 7 or 8 boards that you're a member of and you're your own businessman, have you ever seen any display of passion like you have in your time as a Hawthorn board member or president of the club? No, no, I haven't seen any passion like that at all. Where do you think where do you think that comes from? What is it? Is it something that is particularly? The club's got a great relationship with the Green Bay Packers, and there is so much made of the cheesehead factor over there, and the fact that they, sort of go and watch their side play in this frozen tundra, and will go out in all sorts of conditions. I wonder if it takes a special sort of sporting institution to sometimes bring out that sort of emotion in people. It's hard to know. As I've got to know Hawthorn better and seen the depth of their love of the club, I mean, if you could get that love of a club into a business, into a country, it would be a huge strengthening. It is there, a very special support, and they do have it in Green Bay. I mean, they're unbelievable. So can business learn, in terms of that, what you're talking about right there, can business learn a little bit from sport in that regard? I'm sure it can, and Alan Jeans helped me in business. I didn't know Alan Jeans. I used to go to the football and watch him coach. I'd come home, re-strengthen that I had to build a strong team to be very successful in business. So he never knew that this fellow was in the crowd, learning from him, watching that team on the field. Does he know nowadays that you studied him like that? He probably doesn't know the depth of what he did for Ansell and for me in those years, but I hope he does. Yeah. And where did your love for the game come from? How far back was it? Did you play as a kid? And I grew up in Adelaide and played as a kid, and they invited me down to South Adelaide for a run, but I was a tennis player, so that was my love of my life as a kid. Yeah. My real interest in Hawthorn came in 1963-64 when I came to Melbourne, and my father-in-law said, "Do you want a bed?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you barrack for Hawthorn." But his family, the Pill family, lived in Hawthorn for many, many years, and Harry used to take his kids and my wife Barbara down to Hawthorn, play baseball there in the morning at Glenferrie, make them stay and watch him play baseball, then make them stay and watch Hawthorn lose typically. Yeah. So the Pill family has had a much longer association with the club than I have. Those long-suffering supporters who went through all that pain and anguish from 1925 through to 1961, Harry Gordon again refers to that constantly in the hard way. Yes. And I guess that's one of the... Hawthorn's got a terrific capacity to sort of roll a little bit. I mean, they say it in their song, they sort of roll with the punches a little bit, don't they? Yes, and it's interesting too how many people I meet these days who had a great time at Glenferrie, even though it was a small ground, 20,000 people, but so many people went there, walked there, remember the bugler up the back, and had a great time, and that's a strength of memory. And then you've got the next strength of great success of the players. So you've got two real strengths of the club. And of course Glenferrie is the heart of Hawthorn today, and will be indefinitely wherever we play.
I was going to ask you about that, because nowadays it's become a fantastic facility with the social club across the road and the training base there and the recreation centre next door. It's become quite I don't know whether it's been incredibly well planned. I suspect there's been some planning go into it, but it's developed into a very much a heartbeat of the whole footy club, hasn't it?
Yes, well, it is a strong heart, and we will strengthen it a little more, but it's good to see the players be able to go over to good swimming facilities, good weights area, and a very good training ground too. It's a good oval.
Yeah.
No, it's got everything, and it'll be the core of the club, whether we play at Waverley or whether we play at Docklands.
How can you sustain? There's Glenferrie right now with the recreation centre in the back right there, and how can you sustain the growth that you've experienced in the first half of 1997? It's all very well. In fact, it's sensational to experience the growth that you've experienced. But I mean, it's now your and your administration's responsibility to maintain that. How do you go about it?
Well, I mean, it's not just membership, which we are continuing to work on, but it's also corporate support. I mean, we have had people who've consistently come to us in the last week, month, and say, we used to support the club, we want to do it again. We had a fellow just in the last week who said, we've had a car which we've sponsored. We would like to convert that sponsorship into sponsorship for Hawthorn. So we're getting that corporate support rejuvenated. In our Gold Pass coterie group, we got down to 9 members last year, and we're up
to right?
And we're up to 21. And that last 4 is in the last couple of weeks. And so it's everywhere in the club. The cheer squad, I mean, there's a story. I mean, they were down to under 60 members last year. We've got them back onto the ground. I saw them up there last night making their banner for this week, and they're up to over 130 members of the cheer squad. And that's what we need to do, is to build every part of the club so that we've got a very strong foundation for if there's any steadying, other parts will carry it, as membership has certainly carried it in the early part of this year.
Well, you've mentioned all the key barometers there, and it sounds like they're all heading in the right directions, doesn't it?
Yes.
Where will it lead to, do you think, we're early doors 1997, I know, but give me a prediction of where you think your club might finish this season.
Well, I think we've got a very good chance of finishing in the top 4. I think that we've surprised the other clubs at our strength, and we've surprised the media. They've not tipped us, which is fine.
Yep.
But I don't see a fundamental weakness in the team, and Ken is doing such a good job with the young people. Leckus and Scott, those people, they have shown in the first 5 weeks how good they are.
Keep up the good work. We're all on your side. I suspect there's a lot of people out there with Hawthorn as their second team. Thanks for coming along, talking to us today.
That's what they say about the Green Bay Packers. They say they're than everybody else's number 2 team.
Exactly. And thank you for joining us today on One on One. We'll see you next week.